have temporarily the tank consoles installed, and it's getting really tight to the outside, as you can see on that line compared to the front tire. But yeah, I need to beef them out from the frame. I need to have those adapters in between, because I need to beef them off the frame. The reason for that is that here on the frame will be some brackets installed, where long rods connecting the subframe, which sits right above here, with the frame. And those rods will basically act as a restrictor, so that if the subframe lifts, you know, because the frame the vehicle frame articulates and the subframe lifts up to keep the habitat straight and prevent them from harm, right? Then those rods will basically restrict the amount of lifting from the subframe. Now, that took me a week to get this done. Doing these adapters, as I said, drilling those and installing them and hanging the tanks. So the tank holders need to be drilled, and all sorts. So you see, hang on here, beneath the tank holders, I have those little studs here, like this one, and there's one over there, which will hold the skid plate later on. There will be a skid plate just to prevent damage underneath the tank, right? So now, then because I was hanging the tanks here, as you can see, I'm very, very close to the suspension here. That's the absolute max I can go. That's almost too far already. And then I have, you can call it, well, this tank is not tight yet, but this is basically a quarter inch I got between the tanks space, which should be fine because they will be strapped on with those. This is just test wise. They will be strapped tight and they don't move, so they're not coming close to each other. But the big problem is I needed some room for this guy, and that is containing my batteries, right? That's basically the new battery box. I made that the past week, and it fits just fine. So there's also not much space between the driving cab, and also I had to notch it here for the exhaust pipe going down and then over to the muffler, right? So yeah, this is installed now and pretty solid. Also, there's just a half-inch gap in between the tank and that one, so it's going really down to the millimeter here, with all the stuff on that side. And each of these tanks has a volume, or can contain up to 300 liter, which is 79 and a quarter gallons. So basically, I took some notes here, otherwise that's a lot of numbers, So with each of these tanks, we can reach a distance from 1,200 kilometers, or 745 miles, right? With each of them. So in total, of course, if both are full. I mean, these days with those diesel prices, hallelujah. But hopefully that is getting back to normal a little, so we will see what the future will hold. But anyway, 600 liter in total gives us a distance of 2,400 kilometers, just by doing the math. Is it really like that? That depends, of course, on the environment. If it's going up hills a lot of stuff, then of course you reach less than that because your consumption is higher. Or 1,490 miles, both full tanks. One fact to the truck, for people in the States, they like to know what the consumption is per gallon, and that is 15 miles per gallon. That's what the consumption of that truck is. So we need for 100 kilometers or 62 miles, we need 6.6 gallons or 25 liter. So why did we choose 2 tanks instead of one big one? we could have done that too. I could have a 500 liter tank instead of 600 both combined. A 500 would be a little smaller, and I would have more space here, you know, like for the battery box that's squished in there, as you saw in the previous video. First of all, this tank number one, basically with 300 liter, is my main tank. That's my plan. So it will be the main tank where we are taking the fuel out, you know, and this one won't be all the time full, you know, like, because 300 liter gives us a reach of 740 miles, 750 miles. So that's a lot of distance, you know. The second one is more like a safety feature kind of thing, because let's say you hit something at the ground and you wreck one of the tanks, you have at least a second one, you know, so you're not losing all the diesel if that incident happened, or you can fill the other one, you know. So then contamination, like we won't have that in Canada or in the States, you know, like even Mexico, you know, but further down South America, it could happen that, you know, you catch a diesel which is not so okay, not so good, you know. So if you know it ahead of time, and it's kind of, but you need to refill, then at least you contaminate only one of the tanks. You choose the one which is, let's say that's my dirty one, and I put that in here, you know, and not contaminating both. So, and also, why did we put both on this side? Because this has something to do with the whole layout, you know, like where can I store stuff and where does it make sense? You know, in our case on the other side, by the way, next video, I will show you guys our floor map, or basically also the elevation. The drawings are done, and I will work on a video for that, you know, like, and I'll show you what our habitat looks like. We know now our floor plan, basically, where is what going, you know, a bedroom, kitchen, diner, and so on and so on. I will show you guys that in the next video. Okay, so that's the kind of teaser. But anyway, we have over there on that side the entrance of the habitat, which is a lowered entrance, you know, and so therefore is no space for another tank. So this is why I have to place them both here. Another reason why I want to do that is, if there's a door, that's most likely the most used side for camping, for the main purpose of this whole build, right? So we will sit with our table and the chairs outside on that side, you know, maybe underneath the awning and stuff, and don't want any fumes like these. There's a gasket in the cap and stuff, you know, it will seal it, but not 100%. So even you know, if you fill the tank and you spill a little bit on the surface, it's never getting 100% away, even if you wipe it off. So you will have some stinky fumes, you know, some smells over there, and that's what you don't want. This is the reason why we put it on the opposite side, right? So I hope that makes sense. On that side as well, beside the lowered entrance, the door from the habitat, beside that will be a storage box, and in that storage box I will have a extra diesel filter. That's a SEPA filter, and the SEPA filter is there to separate basically condensation, like water, out of the diesel. You can imagine this big tank, if I touch it now, it is pretty cold, right? So there will be condensation in it, and it accumulates in the tank, goes into the line, and then this guy is filtering it out, you know, like, so I can release the water out of it. I can see it here in the glass if it fills up, and then I can release it here, you know. So that is filtering water and fine particles. I will have this valve here, you know, like the manual valve, you know, where I can choose that tank or that tank. So I choose the tank manually, where I'm taking the diesel out of. These two items, they will be locked up in this storage box there. So the tanks are not fully installed yet, because they have to come off again, because those adapters I made, I want to send them into the fire galvanizing place and then paint them black and then put them on, and then I can permanently install the tanks. So yeah, if you liked the video, please leave me a thumbs up. our short-term goal is to get to 100 subscribers. We're very close. We're at 81 if I remember right. You know, like thanks for that. Thanks for all the subscribers. See you in the next one.